All right, your last lesson over two-dimensional shapes. You will have a quiz tomorrow over this information. Be sure you go over the appetizer, checking your work. So first, make sure that you have the correct multiples. You will be using the multiples of 3 to help you with multiplication down below. Your first subtraction problem, 900 minus 198, is 702. 2,256 times 3, 6,768. If you have both of those correct, you may move on to the main course. Otherwise, you're following along in a different color. So I first notice I have more on the floor, so I've got to go next door. This 0 becomes a 10. But I already have a 0 next door, so what am I going to take away from 0? Well, before I can take anything, I have to go all the way to the 9 and make it an 8. That makes this one a 10, but I've got to give 1 away to the far right 0. So this 10 is actually going to become 9. Okay, so there's kind of a two-step process there. So 10 minus 8 is 2, 9 minus 9 is 0, and 8 minus 1 is 7, 702. 2,256 times 3. The first thing I'm going to do is multiply my ones. So 6 times 3 is 18. 8, regroup my 1. 3 times 5. So 1s times the 10s. 15 plus 1 more is 16. Carry my 1. 3 times 2 is 6. Plus 1 more is 7. And then 3 times 2 is 6. 6,768. After you have that corrected, you are going to move on to the main course. Today you're going to use what you already learned from Monday and Tuesday from the tables where you identified and wrote down the descriptions for the quadrilaterals and the descriptions for the triangles. So you may refer back to those sheets to help you identify the objects. A couple things I want to point out, because there are a couple shapes that aren't on your tables, so we're going to do those together. So if we look, we didn't talk about circles or ovals, okay? A circle is one continuous line, and it is not straight, and that line does connect, okay? The distance around a circle is the circumference, okay? The other shape that we have here is an oval. And you'll notice that our circle and our oval are different because our oval is more oblong, where our circle is pretty even all the way around, okay? All right, the first two you should be able to do. This row of triangles, you should be able to look at your chart and complete, along with the items listed, these first 3. This image is actually what we call a kite. I know you may want to go back to previous day's work and think that it's a rhombus, but we have 2 pairs of adjacent sides that are equal. So in this case, these 2 sides are equal and these 2 sides are equal. So slightly different from a rhombus, where a rhombus has 4 equal sides. Okay? The bottom row, we did not talk about these. These are shapes that have more than 4 sides. So they do have specific names. And you will learn later on in 4th grade the different roots that help you identify the numbers. If we count this one here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, we have 5 sides. An object that has 5 sides is called a pentagon. So we're going to write pentagon. Okay? Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides. 6 sides. We call that a hexagon. And you'll learn later that pent means 5 and hex means 6. Okay? Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This object has 8 sides, and an 8-sided object is an octagon. So that prefix oct tells us that it has 8 sides. Okay, get that filled in, and then we will look at the last shape, which if you want to go ahead and start counting the sides. So this time we have 1, 2, and I'm going to number these because I'm afraid I'm going to get confused. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it has 10 sides. We call that a decagon. And you may be familiar with that root dec, because when we think about decade, a decade is 10 years. And this side, a decagon, is a 10-sided shape. Okay? So those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, get those filled in. And the remainder of this sheet is independent work. Use your resources. Once you have finished this sheet, you're going to move on to the game that has been posted in Math Google Classroom.